This European tax that most Americans don't even know about could help fund Medicare for all. Why aren't we doing it? Subscribe for more information on Medicare for all.
Yeah, whatever, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thank you.
What I was calling about, Tom, is if we was looking to pay for, like, Medicare for all, why couldn't they do that in, like, a sales tax? You know, like if everything from bubble gum to a yacht, that way everybody's paying their fair share, you know, whether it be like, you know, nickel on a dollar or 10 cents on a dollar. You know, if you're eating romaine noodles all week or whatever.
There's two answers to that, Mac, or Mark, excuse me. Sales taxes are typically the most regressive of all taxes because they hit even people who make, you know, who are in absolute and utter poverty. They still have to pay sales taxes. So if you're raising the cost of retail goods right across the board, and you're not raising, you know, wages or you know, welfare benefits or whatever it may be, however people are able to survive, you know, hang on by their teeth, Social Security benefits, then you're really, you know, hurting the least among us. That said, there is a form of tax which is not a sales tax, but it sort of functions as one in a way, which is how Canada does it. It's how all the countries of Europe do it. I believe it's how Mexico does it. It's how much of South America does it. And it's called a value-added tax, or a VAT tax. And what a VAT tax does is it imposes a very small tax every time on manufactured goods every time a product is increased in value. So when you mine the iron ore and convert it to pig iron, there's a very small tax on that increase in value. When you convert that pig iron to steel, there's a very small tax on that steel. When you convert that steel to rolled steel, there's a very small tax on that. When you convert the rolled steel into a car door, there's a small tax on that. When you put that car door on the car, there's a small tax on that. And it all adds up. And for example, in Germany, the VAT tax on automobiles is 17%. And then they use that VAT tax as a tariff and a reverse tariff to basically make it more difficult for things manufactured abroad to come into the country and to encourage companies in the country to manufacture things within the country. And so, for example, if you want to take an American car and sell it in Germany, Germany is saying, hey, there's no VAT tax imposed on that car. That's not fair to German citizens who have to pay a VAT tax on, you know, a BMW made in Germany. And so you're going to have to pay a 17% tax at the border when you bring that car into Germany. It's functionally a tariff, right? But it's called a VAT tax. And on the other hand, if Germany is going to export a car from Germany to the United States and sell it here in the United States, there's an immediate 17% discount because U.S. citizens don't pay German VAT taxes. And if you've ever traveled internationally, you very often, Australia is really big on this. You buy things while you're there, you keep your receipts, and on the way out, there's a booth at the airport where you go up and you show them your receipts, and every single one shows how much VAT tax was in every product you bought, and they refund it to you because you're not an Australian. And so that is a tax that I think we should have in the United States, that some would argue is a sales tax and is a slightly regressive tax. But most of the, right up until the very last stage of manufacturing, most of those costs of that VAT tax are actually not absorbed by the consumer. They're absorbed by the companies that are manufacturing the products. Make sense, Mark?
Yeah, it makes
and all these countries use their VAT taxes to help fund their Medicare for all. So, Mark, thank you for that one.